Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Red Short webinar. My name is Bill Schenkelberg. I'm the Managing Director here at Red Sky Alliance. Today, I'll be discussing how easy it is to hack and then take a quick look at the morals and ethics of cyber crimes. After 30 plus years in law enforcement, I'd like to share some of my thoughts on why hacking now is relatively easy and then take a quick look at the mindset of current hackers. I've included a link on this slide to a related report. You'll see that up on the slide. A few weeks ago, two white hat hackers recently won $40,000 for cracking a system used by most major industrial companies. The hack focused on systems used to manage our numerous power grids in the US and are actually used in many other countries. After the competition, the hackers told the MIT Technology Review publication, quote, "It was extremely easy. This should take everyone back a few steps." The hack challenge was in Miami, and the mission was to attack industrial control systems, specifically the hardware and software used to control power grids, water treatment facilities, and other critical infrastructure systems. The victim application is called OPC UA and is used everywhere in the industrial world, used as a connector between operating systems. The challenge was very successful, and within just a few days, the two Dutch hackers hacked the OPC UA system. This is not good, mainly because it was just too easy. Many years ago, when I was a local police officer, I responded to many home and office burglaries. Some were even in progress, which was always fun, and most of those burglars got caught. Back in the day, theft offenses like burglary and robbery were human-related type crimes, direct one-on-one crimes. A criminal had to first have the guts to commit the crime, no matter what the motivation was. There was planning, obtaining burglary tools, maybe get a weapon, had to work the night shift, and wear the appropriate clothing. Criminals had to face getting caught by the homeowner, the business owner, and at times the police. They might even get bit by a dog inside the house or a business. Just think back to the old junkyard dogs. And then there were alarm systems that needed to be shut down before entering. A lot of planning and execution had to be put into these two type crimes. There was a lot to being a burglar and a robber. Like I said, you had to have the guts to handle all that was involved with these theft type crimes. Where once a criminal had to have, again, the guts to commit the burglary or the robbery, and then initiate and execute many physical, quote unquote, physical steps to successfully commit a theft, now a criminal can sit in the comfort of his or her home and virtually commit these same type theft offenses, all through the use of the new burglary tools, the computer and the internet. It's easy. It's much, much easier than it was in the past. The key to understanding the current mindset is to clearly understand that there is minimal planning and the odds of getting caught are very slim. Again, in other words, it's just easy. In the not too distant past, a hacker had to have a strong level of technical IT expertise. This is not necessarily the case anymore. Anyone who knows the dark web can go shopping at ransomware marketplaces, or as some call them, ransomware for a service, or RAS, such as Conti, Snatch, or Lockbit 2.0. What's funny is, to the best of my memory, there were no burglary or robbery stores to go shopping for criminal tools. But hey, this is a new age. Really, not a lot of planning is currently needed, and the tech level needed is relatively low. Again, my point is it's just too easy. An example of low-level expertise is the current group that we've been tracking called the Lapsus Hacking Group. They're using low-tech techniques and reaping really large ransomware rewards. Many researchers, including our company, believe this group, who boast over 50,000 followers, are actually teens living in the UK. Another note of interest, back in my day, many home burglaries were committed by local juvenile delinquents. So really the crimes they've changed in technique, but it's really, committed by a lot of the same type individuals. Now if a hacker gets caught, defense attorneys will say, "Hey, it's a white collar crime. No one got hurt, there were no weapons used, and the safety of the owner was not compromised." There is often a defense strategy to portray the computer crime criminals as harmless. Anyone in cybersecurity knows that these crimes are far from harmless. Speaking of defense strategies, I recently saw on a post from a defense attorney that, quote, "a key component of the U.S. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act is intentionally accessing protected computers without authorization. There are defense arguments that this statute fails to explain exactly what a lack of authorization means. In addition, the law refers to exceeding authorized access to a computer, but a lack of this definition in the term has caused extensive legal debate." You know, this attorney is right, and it shows the lack of understanding by many lawmakers when they create these statutes. He goes on to say that, quote, "extremely harsh penalties can be assessed against first-time offenders who access computers without authorization." Then he explains how he can help with those defensive strategies on his website. The lack of specificity in the laws creates doubt in the statute, and why defense attorneys will attack the law and fight real hard for acquittal, or at the very least, leniency in sentencing. And this happens over and over in our court systems. So where do we go from here? Many believe the Dominion voting machines were compromised in the 2020 presidential election process. So where do we go from here? Many believe the Dominion voting machines were compromised in the 2020 presidential election and the process thereof of voting. In other words, they were allegedly hacked. This caused many states to take a very close look at voter integrity. Early last week in Florida, a measure was signed into law to create a first of its kind office in that state. That office is to investigate voter irregularities along with making other changes in the state's election system. This was signed into law by the current Florida governor. This measure is called Senate Bill or SB 524 and expands upon a 2021 state law. These laws were after the 2020 election and the voter irregularities. Of note, and what I think is important, is this bill makes voter fraud a third-degree felony, one of the most stringent state laws in the United States. Most voter fraud laws on the books in the various states are misdemeanor levels. In other words, if people got caught with voter fraud, not much would happen to them. Well, if this happens in the state of Florida now, it's a third-degree felony, which means you can go to prison for quite a long time. In my opinion, this is a positive step in just one aspect of cybersecurity. And then on the federal level, if you're charged under the U.S. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, you may be subject to either a misdemeanor or a felony. In most cases, unauthorized access of a computer that causes damage of more than $5,000 and uses the information for profit can result in felony charges. This federal statute was originally created by Congress in 1984 when computers were just kind of starting out in the public sector, and now it was recently updated in 2020. Under this federal statute, distributing computer code or placing it into the flow of interstate commerce is illegal. If a hacker intends to cause either physical or economic damage, they can be subject to this act. This act also provides for fines up to $250,000 and imprisonment for as long as 20 years for individuals if convicted. So the states are getting smarter, and the federal government is now getting smarter with cyber-related crimes, which I think is a good idea. Strong, specific cybersecurity laws need to be created and strongly enforced and prosecuted. Additionally, state and federal lawmakers need to continuously update the statutes. Why? Why, you ask? Because technology changes on a daily basis, and the laws need to reflect those changes and stay up to date. That's really, really important. Otherwise, defense attorneys can come in and start picking apart the law like we've seen with the previous attorney. The government is not the only one responsible for better cybersecurity. Private businesses need to step up and place cybersecurity higher within their corporate planning. This includes internal and external protections, proactive cyber intelligence, and yearly cybersecurity training for their employees, maybe even on a quarterly basis. This is really important. It's important to train your people to be aware of cybersecurity, have good cyber hygiene, and keep training them and keeping up on it so they don't make mistakes, because it only takes one time for, let's say, a ransomware malware to get on your network, and then you have some big problems. Like I said, it only takes one mistake for catastrophic results. In the U.S., the CISA and businesses, the CISA is the DHS component that handles cybersecurity, and local businesses are starting to work together to close that gap in cybersecurity, which again is another positive step towards better cyber hygiene. But keep in mind, for every safeguard, there are criminal elements out there working to overcome security parameters on a global scale and at all tier levels. So what's the point of this video? Well, it was a juvenile horse or a pony who was delinquent and went for a run on a superhighway. A superhighway that is designed for cars and trucks to go safely and drive safely between 70 and 100 miles an hour. This delinquent pony eventually stopped all the traffic on this highway. A nice story, you say? Yeah, some may think so. But that pony actually caused a 7-car pileup and sent one person to the hospital with critical injuries. A pony on a highway. It's easy and simple, yet it caused a huge problem. This is no different than the innocent hackers committing these crimes in quote, white-collar crimes. I hope you enjoyed my very brief thoughts today on the human element of hacking. This topic could actually be a psychological or sociological research project, and at minimum, a semester-long college course. I really only scratched the surface here today, but I hope I made my point. And the point is, let's not make it so darn easy for these cyber criminals to conduct their business. I sincerely believe that if we take cybersecurity more serious and with tight, solid laws and punishments, we will see a huge positive change in our cyber hygiene. If you have any questions on this subject, you can contact either myself, my email's up on the slide, or Jim McKee at jmckee@wapaclabs.com. Topics such as today's presentation can be seen on our free Red Sky portal, which is redskyalliance.org. With that, I'll say goodbye for now and hope to see you next week. Thank you.